Bill Belichick will be a terrific fit for North Carolina. When you think about it like this, a year ago we lost the best college head coach ever in Nick Saban. A year later, college football gains the best NFL head coach ever, and people think that he's not going to be a good fit for this program. Bill just had his opening press conference at North Carolina, and the word I'll use to describe it was interesting, man. It was super interesting to see Bill actually address the media and actually try to be likable. And because just being a college head coach and an NFL head coach is very different, man. Bill whole mindset as an NFL head coach, I don't want to talk to the media. I don't want to give my opponents any advantage, and I don't want to be here. But as a college head coach, you are trying to sell your program, man. You are trying to persuade kids to come to your program and also parents to come to your program and be a part of what we're trying to build. In the NFL, it's totally different. You don't need to persuade players as much. Obviously, you have, free agency. You want to be able to persuade players to come to your team in free agency, but it is nowhere near the level of high school recruiting, even transfer portal recruiting, and even dealing with parents, man. Oftentimes in free agency in the NFL, people either want to go to the team that's winning, they want to win a championship, or they want to go to the team that's paying the most. And then third, they want to go to the best fit. Whether it's, you're going to start, get playing time, whatever the situation is, it's not as much as, is the head coach a great person? If the head coach this, that, in college football, that matters a whole lot more, man. It's more about developing men, also getting your education. So being those two head coaches is a completely different. So I think Bill is going to have to make a little bit of adjustment. And I think we're already seeing that, especially with this press conference today, man. You see him talk a little bit about, player development and then also inside the classroom, something he never had to talk about before. So he's kind of shifting his mindset. It's Bill Belichick, man. Six championships. He obviously know what he's doing. He said he wanted to coach in college football for a while now, just never worked out in his cards. So I think he'll be completely fine when it comes to that aspect of the job. I've seen a lot of people talking about, can Bill recruit? Can he recruit? Well, first of all, I don't think he ever done it before, at least not on this level of a college football head coach. So can he recruit? I think the answer will be yes. And at the same time, this is a 72-year-old man. To be fair, North Carolina old head coach Matt Bryant was 73. So technically the program got younger at the head coach position. But he did sign a 5-year contract, and he also said in the press conference he's committed to being at North Carolina. He don't have no intentions of going back to the NFL. So with that being said, can he recruit high school? We'll see. 17 through, 22, 23-year-olds, can he relate to him as a 72-year-old man? We'll see. I think he can. We obviously got a bunch of older head coach in the entire college football. I think the answer to that question will essentially be yes. Yes, he will be able to recruit, but we're going to have to see it. I honestly think he's going to have an approach like Deion Sanders. I'm expecting when he get in the door, when they have that first team meeting, it might be 10, 15, 20 players entering that portal. Similar to, what happened at Colorado, I don't think it'll be as drastic because that roster is, one, not as bad as Colorado's roster when they first took over. And then also, I don't think he'll come in just shooting everyone out the door. But I do think a lot of people will leave. I said about 10 to 20. And I think he'll bring in a lot of transfers. Obviously, it's super late in the process. It's already past signing day. But next year, I wouldn't expect him to bring in a lot of high school guys, man. I would expect him to kind of take that Deion Sanders approach, especially when you consider Bill is older. He want to win now. He don't want to wait until these high school guys are, develop, finally get to, a starting position 3 years later. I expect him to go super hard at the portal, and, we'll see what happens. I will argue Bill is now top 3 most popular, famous, household names in college football when it comes to head coaches, man. Obviously, lost Nick Saban. He would have been number 1. Now, number 1 would be Deion Sanders. When I'm talking about most popular, most people that just know who that is, I would say Deion Sanders probably number 1. Kirby Smart might be number 2 at this point. Just recent, he's winning all the national championships. At this point, I would probably move Bill Belichick in there at number 2. Him and Deion Sanders are kind of, 1, 2. And then it's probably Kirby Smart. You might want to throw Dabo Swinney in there. Maybe even a Lane Kiffin. He's kind of newer. Maybe even a Dan. No, probably not Dan. Not yet. But point is, he now enters as, one of the most popular names. And the one thing about this, players, these players at 17 to 23, 24, they actually witnessed what Bill Belichick actually done in his career. When I say that, they actually seen Bill Belichick and Tom Brady go out there and win the Super Bowl. They actually seen him, maybe not all 6 rings, but they probably saw the last 2, maybe the last 3, and they're probably aware of a lot of them. When it comes to Deion Sanders, obviously did a lot of great things, a great player. But the one thing about Deion Sanders and his playing career, the athletes now never seen him actually play. Like, I never seen Deion Sanders actually play. I only seen highlights because I wasn't old enough. And same thing with these athletes now. They never actually seen Deion Sanders play. Now, these players' parents, they obviously know Deion Sanders. They seen him play. They seen his, how flashy he was, everything. You either love him or you hate him. So I think that's one thing that's going to be different, man. These players actually going to have proof of concept. Okay, I seen, Tom Brady and Bill Belichick actually go out there and, win a Super Bowl, do this, and that. So I think that's one thing, that's one effect that Bill will have an advantage on when it comes to recruiting, high school, and transfer portal. I can see it now, man. Deion Sanders, one thing, he got a lot of hate, a lot of flack for not going to visit schools, going to visit players, going to households. I feel like Bill kind of the same way. He don't need to do that. Deion Sanders don't need to do it. He'd rather have the people come to him, come to his house, show them what they have going on. And I feel like Bill will be the same exact way. Have these players, these, recruits, also their parents come to North Carolina and see the beautiful campus, see what they have working for them. And he don't actually have to go inside these houses and, convince these high school recruits to come play for him. So like I mentioned earlier, this roster is not in a bad spot, man. They're coming off a 6-6 season. They're about to go to a bowl game. What do we expect for Bill? Like I say, he signed a 5-year contract, but I think next year, he's going to go crazy in this portal. I believe at least. I believe he's going to go crazy in this portal. They got a 4-star quarterback that he is supposed to, meet with and try to convince him to stay on board. We'll see how that goes. But I think they're going to take the portal heavy, and I expect them to, maybe get 8 wins next year. Maybe, a little 8-4 season. I expect them to probably have a winning season every single season that Bill is there. And over these 5 years, I definitely expect them to make a playoff run. Y'all let me know down below if I'm tripping. But over the next 5 years, especially with the 12-team playoff, maybe even going to 14 teams one day, I expect them certainly to make the playoffs at one point in this 5 years. And the last thing I want to bring up, why North Carolina, Bill? Why North Carolina? And that's no disrespect to the program, no disrespect to them at all. But for me, it's like, what did they agree to? If I'm Bill Belichick, I want to go into the meeting like, hey, these are my requirements. And all the reports are saying, he went in there with that requirements and, they met him. Obviously, they hired them. But it's like when it comes to NIL, that plays such an important role to, recruiting, retaining players, everything like that. And, when I'm coming to the program, North Carolina, one big thing is, for me, is are we going to recruit? Are we going to match NIL by you? Are we going to bring enough money to the table where we could compete with Alabamas, the Georgias, the LSUs, the Ohio States, the Michigans, some of the big programs? Are we going to represent our NIL? Are we going to put our money where our mouth is for us to actually win? Because recruiting is, so sad to say, a lot of it is about the cheese. A lot of it is about the money. It's sad to say, are they going to match that? Obviously, with basketball, they're doing it. They're exceeding that. Obviously they have a great basketball program, known as a basketball school. But are you going to bring that money over to the football program and allow me to build the program I want us to be? Because, you can have the best head coach in the world. If the money not there, the money not there. And these players nowadays, these kids, they going where the money is. And I partially can't blame them. Some of these guys are not going to make the NFL. So they have to set themselves up to make as much money now. So when they get, 9 to 5, whatever job they get, they are well off. They're in a position where, they can maybe start their own business, whatever the situation is. So that's one question I have. I'm assuming that they said yes to that question. I'm assuming Bill, went to them with that. So we'll just have to see. But if y'all enjoyed this content, my name's Jaden. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, man. We have a bunch of college football content, the video game, and then also I want to just start talking like this, man. I don't have many videos of me just talking about college football on the channel. That will change. We will do, cover different things that pop up all throughout the season, the off season as well. So make sure y'all like and hit that button.